Okay, in this lesson I want to discuss how to calculate a payment such as a home mortgage payment or a car loan payment. And we're also going to look at the number of periods. You know, how long would it take for you to pay off your credit card if you just paid the minimum balance? Or if you needed a certain amount of money in the future, how many years would that take to get that amount? So first let's start off payment. I'm going to use the example that you have in your textbook on page 129. So we're going to go to f of x, click that, and then we'll go to category financial. And if we just click in there, and if I type in the letter P, it comes up the first one, PMT, which stands for payment. So we're going to hit OK. And the example in the textbook, this one was an example of a mortgage loan that had a 12% interest rate, and the individual was borrowing $100,000 for the mortgage. So the question was, what would the payment be? So a rate of 12%, and we have to remember that most mortgages have monthly payments. So it's not 12% a year, it's 12% divided by 12. So that's the interest rate applied per month. If this had been a 30-year mortgage and there's 12 payments in a month, so we have to take 30 times 12. And finally is the present value amount. That is, we're going to put in a positive $100,000. And again, remember that the bank gives you the money. It's a positive cash flow to you, even though you turn right around and give it to buy the house. That present value amount is still a positive cash flow from your perspective. The payment from your perspective is a negative cash flow. So it said if you had borrowed $100,000, ignoring escrow and taxes, your actual payment you would have would be $1,028.61. And if we wanted to figure out how much we would actually pay for that house, if we paid for it for the full 30 years, we could say equals 360 times that $1,028.61. And it would tell us that we'd actually end up paying $370,000 for that house, and a major part of that reason is such a high interest rate at 12%. Okay, so that's a good example of the payment be used for calculating a car payment too. Typically, most of these are all monthly, and we would have to divide by 12 for the interest rate. All right, well, let's do next. I want to look at number of periods, like a typical example. And even these days with credit cards, with the changes in the laws of February 2010, the credit card statements actually tell you to some degree how long it would take you to pay off this credit card if you just paid the minimum amount every month. So this one's not in the textbook, but we're going to walk through an example problem. But we're going to hit f of x, and then under financial. If it's not there, go ahead and pull financial down. But we're going to look up NPER. Scroll down here a little bit. We see NPER, and that stands for number of periods in Excel. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to hit OK. So let's say that you did buy a big screen TV at a electronics store, and typically a lot of times those credit card interest rates are pretty high. So let's say it was 21%, and they typically require monthly payments. So we're going to divide that by 12. Now let's say that you actually you borrowed $2,000 from them to buy the TV. Let's say that you made monthly payments of $100 every month. Okay. Well, this would say if you made the $100 in payment for every month, it would take you approximately 24 months or 2 years to pay off that TV. So if you think about it this way, you'd be paying 24 times 100, about $2,400 for the $2,000 TV set. Now, I'm just going to play around with this a little bit, but let's say that instead of making a $100 payment, you only made a $50 payment a month. Well, you can see now that our number of periods has increased quite a bit. So then again, if you think, how much would I actually be paying for this? I'd be taking 69 times the 50 again, and that would tell you what you actually ended up paying for the TV over that period of time. And a big difference here, we went from 24 months to 69 months, so we're pushing close to 7 years on having to pay off that TV. So those are examples of the payment and number of periods. And again, as long as you know 4 out of the 5 functions or values, in this case we knew rate, period, present value, and future value being 0, you can always solve for that 5th value, in this case being a payment. So this ends our lesson on payment and number of periods.